but behind the polished wall, Iku had already begun, Honey, whispering nervously while pecking her. Taehyung panicking, Honey, you can't be serious. The wedding starts in an hour. Honey's eyes were wide, her hand trembling as she tied her cloak. Honey, I love someone else. You know that? I can't marry a prince just because the kingdom says so. Taehyung had dropped. He knew she wasn't lying. Honey had been secretly meeting a commander for months, a sweet boy from the flower market. But what she was doing now, running away from a royal wedding, could destroy their family before Taehyung could stop her. Honey hugged him tight. Honey, I'll send a letter when I see you. Please tell mother I'm sorry. And then she was gone. The back door into the night. Taehyung stood frozen, staring at the empty doorway. His mind spun. The royal guard would come any time. The gates were already waiting. His mother's face flashed in his mind. Worried, felt hopeful that this marriage would bring peace. When his mother entered, she looked pale as the moon. Mother, where is she? Taehyung? He couldn't answer. Mother, Taehyung, tell me, she is getting ready. He stayed silent. Silence was enough. His mother hand shook as she grabbed his shoulders. Mother, if the prince found out she is gone, they all think we withdraw the royal family. Our kingdom could lose everything. Our land, our people's safety. Do you understand, Taehyung? Taehyung thought threatened. Taehyung, mother, what do you want me to do? She looked into his eyes, tears brimming. Mother, you must go in her place. He blinked. What? Mother, just until we find Honey. You look like her. You always have. The veil will hide most of your face. The ceremony will short. Please, my son, just for tonight. Taehyung parted in shock. The thought sounded impossible. He wasn't trained to walk like a royal lady, much less marry a prince. But seeing his mother's trembling hands, he couldn't say no. Taehyung, mother, what do you want me to do? She looked into his eyes, tears brimming. Mother, you must go in her place. He swallowed hard and nodded. All right, I'll do it. Within the hours, he was discharged in silken layers of white and gold. The heavy covering his face. The maids whispered among themselves, thinking the princess looked hotter than usual. But none dared question it. He'd made Jimin approach him, bowing slightly. Jimin whispering, so you are twins. Taehyung blinked in surprise. You know? Jimin, I was Honey's maid. I can tell the difference between her perfumes and yours. Don't worry, I won't tell. Just try not to trip. Taehyung gave a nervous smile. I'll do my best, Jimmy, softly, for your sake. I hope the prince doesn't notice. The grand half fell silence as Taehyung walked down the aisle. The scent of rose and candle mixed in the air. Every step felt heavier than the last. His heartbeat pounding in his ears. He could feel hundreds of eyes watching him, and one particular pair that didn't look away. Prince Jungkook stood tall at the altar, dressed in deep black, trimmed with silver. His face was unbearable, sharp eyes, calm expression, a presence that made everyone around him lower their gaze. Taehyung breathed harsh for a moment. The prince was when he reached the Jungkook gave a small bow, his dark eyes fixed on him. Jungkook softly, you seem nervous, princess. Taehyung forced a small laugh. Well, it's not every day I marry a stranger, your highness. The priest raised an eyebrow at the unexpected tone but continued with the ceremony. Jungkook's lip curved just slightly, almost a smirk. As Barbarian exchanged, Jungkook noticed something more odd. The princess didn't carry herself like The prince didn't carry herself like one, her voice trembling at the wrong moment. Her sentence too casual, and when the crown was placed upon her head, she flinched like someone not used to heavy jewelry. By the time the ceremony ended, Jungkook was certain something was wrong. Later that evening, Taehyung sat alone in the royal chamber, tried to catch his breath. His hands were shaking as he pulled off the Taehyung, murmuring, I did it. I actually did it. Jimin entering quietly. You survived the wedding. That's something. Taehyung softly, barely, almost tripped on the stairs. Jimin smiled. The prince looked like he noticed Taehyung. He noticed everything. I swear his eyes could burn through walls. Jimin, then you are better learn quickly, your highness. They both laughed quietly until the door opened. Jungkook entered, the sound of his boots. Ego on the marble floor, Jimin bowed and slipped out. Now it was just them. Taehyung stood awkwardly, unsure what to say. Jungkook looked calm, but there was something curious in his gaze. Jungkook, you may sit. Taehyung hesitated. Thank you, Your Highness. He set his hand folded lightly in his. Jungkook took a step closer. His voice steady but low. Jungkook, tell me, Princess Honey, where did you learn to bow like a soldier? Taehyung had escaped. A soldier? I don't know, what do you mean, Jungkook? You bow like someone trained, not rise in a raw court. Taehyung gave a weak smile. Maybe I am full of surprise. Jungkook eyes narrowed slightly. You are indeed. He turned away, walking towards the window. He seems different from what I was told. More quiet, more clumsy. Then try to light the air. Maybe the old version of me retired. For a moment, Jungkook actually laughed. Softly, just one. The sound surprised even him. Jungkook returned. Interesting word of princess. He looked up to see Jungkook hiding a small smile. It was faint but real. Jungkook, you speak boldly. Then would you prefer I stay silent all the time? Jungkook gazed softened slightly. No, always. The silence and follow wasn't uncomfortable. It was strange, warm. Even Taehyung noticed how their reflecting Jungkook's eyes, they were just cold. There was curiosity, maybe even a hint of gentleness he had from everyone else. But before he could say anything, Jungkook spoke again. Jungkook, you are not who you say you are. You. Taehyung frozen eyes widened, his heart thumped against his chest. Jungkook didn't sound angry, just quietly certain. Taehyung, I don't understand. Jungkook stepped closer, his expression unstable. Tell me, princess, who are you? Really? Taehyung solo hard answered what to say. The room suddenly felt smaller, the air heavier. Jungkook stopped just a few feet away. His voice was soft, but his eyes stayed sharp. Jungkook, no need to answer tonight, but I'll find out soon. He turned to leave, but paused at the door. Rest well, whoever you are. The door closed gently behind him, leaving Taehyung sitting there trembling. He looked down at his hand, whispering to himself. What have I gotten myself into? Outside the place, light flickered against the night sky, bright, beautiful, and dangerous. And somewhere far beyond the walls, honey Rue thought the dark forest, and where that her twin brother fate was already changing. The candle burned low in Taehyung's chamber long after the princess had gone. He sat by the window staring at the moonlight spilling over the courtyard. His heart was still racing from Jungkook's word. Rest well, whoever you are. That single sentence kept echo in his head. He pressed his palm to his face and sighed softly. Taehyung, you know, I am doomed. A quiet knock came at the door. Head made Jimmy slip in, holding a small tray with drink. Jimmy, you are still awake? Taehyung can't sleep. My life might end tomorrow. You see, Jimmy placed the tray down and smiled. The prince found out, not completely, but he is suspicious. I can feel it, Jimmy. Then we'll just have to keep the act going a little longer. A little longer? He's like a walking lie detector. Jimin softly then said beside him, "You are doing fine beside." I think he'll like this version of Honey more. Taehyung blinked. Like? You think he... Jimmy, don't look so shocked. He actually laughed at dinner. The guards nearly fainted. Taehyung smiled, fainted, but looked away still. It's all wrong. He deserved the truth. Jimmy sighed. Maybe, but right now your truth could start a war. The word hit hard. Taehyung fell silent. Outside the wind rushed the curtains like a whisper. The next morning, the place buzzed with the usual rhythm. Servant running with trays, guard marching in neat lines. Sunlight reflection of marble floor. Taehyung walked carefully through the crowded dress in soft petal silk. He kept his head down, trying not to meet anyone's eyes. But the moment he entered the breakfast hall, Jungkook was already there, seated at the long table, reading his call. His posture was perfect, his face calm. Taehyung stopped mid-step. Jungkook without looking up. "You are late." Taehyung cleaning his thread. Good morning, you too, Your Highness." Jungkook looked up then, and there it was again, that unbearable gaze. Jungkook said. Taehyung sat opposite him. The silence was thick for a while, only broken by the sound of silver spoon on plate. Then Jungkook spoke quietly. "Jungkook, do you dislike morning or just raw ones?" Taehyung, "Both. I prefer to stay in bed and dream of normal people breakfast." Jungkook, "Normal people breakfast?" Taehyung, "Yes. Warm bread, fresh milk. No one can staring at you like you are about to give a speech." For a moment, Jungkook clipped. "You are strange." Taehyung, "You are cool." Jungkook looked up sharply. Taehyung frozen, realizing what he said. Taehyung, I mean not cold, just like a winter morning. You know, calm, quiet, probably judging me." A flint escaped Jungkook's throat. "You have a dangerous mouth, princess." Taehyung, "Better than having no words at all, don't you think?" Jungkook leaned back in his chair, studying him. There was something new in his expression. Amusement, maybe even fondness. After breakfast, Taehyung walked through the palace garden with Jimin. The roses were in full bloom, their scent filled the air. Taehyung, he is impossible to read. One moment he is smiling, the next he is silent. Jimin, that's how he is, cold on the outside, mass inside. Taehyung titled his head, "Mess." Jimin, he lost his mother when he was young. Ever since then, he doesn't show much. But you, Taehyung, me, Jimin, you make him react. That's new. Taehyung looked down at the flower, unsure what to say. Just then, a voice came from behind them. "Jungkook, are the roses more interesting than me, princess?" Taehyung nearly jumped. Jungkook stood there in a dark robe, his expression calm, but his eyes clearly intent. Taehyung, I was just admiring their beauty, Jungkook. Then perhaps I should be jealous. Taehyung blinked. Jealous? Of flowers? Jungkook, they receive your full attention, princess. Taehyung didn't expect that answer. His cheeks warmed. Taehyung, you are joking. Jungkook, maybe. He walked past and hands clapped behind his back. Walk with me. Jimin gave Taehyung a quick wink before disappearing down another path. They stayed in silence at first. Their steps slow, the morning light flickered through the trees, casting sharp pattern on ground. Taehyung, why do you always walk in silence so much? Jungkook, it's peaceful. No one listened in silence. Taehyung's heart escaped. He wondered if that was another hint, another quiet accusation. And yet, sometimes silence hides more than words. Jungkook looked sideways at him. Are you speaking about me or yourself? Taehyung smiled friendly, maybe both. For the first time, Jungkook looked genuinely curious. He slowed his step. You speak different now, not like before. Taehyung, before the wedding, you were softer. Now you fight back. Taehyung, maybe marriage changed people. Jungkook gave a quiet laugh. You secretly changed something. Their eyes met briefly. It was only a second, but something inside the street that night. The rain began to fall, soft and steady. Taehyung stood on the balcony, watching the drops blur and spaceless light. The wind was cold but didn't move. He missed home. The small house, his mother quarter, honey voice, the weight of the life pressed heavier on his chest. The next morning, Taehyung whispered to himself, I don't belong here. The next morning, he woke up with a sore throat and a dizzy head. The rain hadn't stopped and the cold air had spilled into his bones. Jimin found him shivering, his face pale. Jimin, Tae, you look awful. I'll be fine, just a little cold. Jimin, no, you won't. Stay in bed. I'll tell the prince you are unwell. Before Taehyung could protest, Jimin was gone. Hours later, Jungkook entered quietly. He saw Taehyung lying in bed, eyes half open, breathing big. Something sharp twisted in his chest. He walked closer, placing a hand on Taehyung's forehead. Jungkook, oh, you are burning up. Taehyung blinked slowly, voice fainted. It's just a fever. I'll survive. Jungkook, you shouldn't have been outside in the rain. Taehyung tried to smile. Didn't know. Princess scared so much. Jungkook only about foolish people who doesn't value their health. He sat beside the bed, pulling the blanket. For hours he stayed there, changing the bedcloth on Taehyung's forehead, making sure he drank water when Taehyung stripped in his sleep. Jungkook leaned closer, Taehyung mumbling softly, honey, don't cry. Jungkook frozen. The name, the voice. Taehyung, tell them I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. Jungkook's chest tightened. It was as if the pieces finally fit. This wasn't honey, this was someone pretending to be her, and yet he couldn't feel anger. Only a strange edge. He brushed a strand of hair from Taehyung's face, whispering quietly, Jungkook, who are you really? But Taehyung didn't answer. He slipped on, breathing unevenly. By dawn, the fever broke. Jungkook was still there, sitting in the chair beside him, head resting on his hand. When Taehyung opened his eyes and saw him, he blinked in surprise. Taehyung, you stay here all night? Jungkook, you were sick. Taehyung, you didn't have to. Jungkook, maybe I wanted to. There was no teasing in his tone, just quiet honesty. Taehyung smiled weakly. You are not as cold as you pretending to be, Your Highness. Jungkook, and you are not as anyone think. They shared a long, soft silence, the kind that didn't need words. Outside the rain had stopped. The first light of morning touched the curtains. Golden and gentle, Jungkook stood and adjusted the blanket again. Jungkook rest well. I'll talk later. Taehyung watched him leave, his heart heavy with something he couldn't name, gratitude, guilt, maybe both. As the door closed, he whispered faintly into the still room. Taehyung, thank you, Jungkook. He didn't know that Jungkook heard it and pushed just outside the door, his lips curving into the smallest, softest smile he had ever worn. The birds chirped from the courtyard, their song light and cheerful, the sound that didn't quite match their heaviness. In Jungkook's chest, he stood outside the room, staring at the closed door. He could still hear the faint voice from the night before. Thank you, Jungkook. A small smile had found him then, one he hadn't in years, but now that smile faded under the weight of truth. He knew the person inside that room was not Princess Annie. He knew it from the way he spoke, laughed, cared, too genuine, too real. Still, he couldn't bring himself to expose him, not yet. Jungkook took a deep breath and pushed the door open quietly. Inside the home, sat up in bed, his hair still messy, his face pale but brighter than yesterday. He looked at it for a moment, then smiled softly. Taehyung, you came back? Jungkook, you expected me not to? Taehyung, you are prince. You have meetings, royal duties, and I am just Jungkook, someone who kept me awake for all night. Taehyung blinked, caught off guard. I didn't mean to trouble you. Jungkook stepping closer, sitting by the edge of the bed. You didn't, but you did confuse me. Taehyung, confuse you? Jungkook, yes, you are not like her. Taehyung finger tightened on the blanket. Like who? Jungkook, the princess I was supposed to marry. You are different, softer, honest. You don't hide behind politeness. Taehyung looked down. His throat felt dry. Maybe people change when they meet someone unexpected. Jungkook gaze lingered on him, long, quiet, searching, or maybe they reveal who they really are. The words sang between them like a gentle. Taehyung looked up slowly, meeting his eyes, and in that silence, something shifted. The space felt smaller. They breathed closer. Then Jungkook rose suddenly, breaking the stillness. Rest more. You are not ready to walk yet. Taehyung smiled faintly. You are starting to sound like Jimin. Jungkook, I'll take that as an insult. Taehyung laughed softly, and Jungkook felt that some unfamiliar warmth inside him, something that scared him more than its sound. Later that day, Taehyung stepped out in the place garden of the first time since his fever. The air smell of the wet soil and fresh blossom. He held the edge of his cloak tight as he walked along the stone path, but when he saw Jungkook under the tree, his head slightly bowed as he read a sunlight fell across his dark hair, softening the sharp line of his face. Taehyung hesitated, then quietly approaching Taehyung, hiding from your kingdom, your highness. Jungkook looked back, one eyebrow raised. Perhaps, and you? Taehyung, recovering and thinking about how strange this place feels when it's quiet. Jungkook, no, I dislike not knowing you are thinking. Jungkook folded his lip twin slightly. You really want to know? Taehyung, yes. Jungkook, I'm thinking that you are not the person even believe you are. Taehyung frozen. Taehyung, Jungkook was shocked and that I don't care. Taehyung blinking shock. You what? Jungkook, you can stop pretending now. The words made his heart stop. Jungkook stepped closer, his expression calm but eyes filled with emotion. Last night when you were sick, you called another name, honey. You whispered apology in your sleep. I understood now. Taehyung felt his chest tighten painfully. The lie had finally reached its ends. Taehyung, I didn't want to receive you. I only did it because Jungkook, because your sister ran away. He said it gently, not as an accusation. Taehyung looked up in surprise. Jungkook, General Yonggi, no, he told me this morning. He said you stepped in to protect your family honor. Tears fell in Taehyung's eyes. I thought you hate me for it. Jungkook, I wanted to for a moment I did, but then I remember how you stay up talking about the stair with the kitchen mates, how you laugh when you trip, how you always look lost in room full of gold. He paused, voice trembling just slightly, and I realized I don't want the princess I was meant to marry. I want you. The lip parted, but no words came out. The air around them felt still, as if the world had stopped to listen. Taehyung, you can't meet that. I am not Ral. I am no one. Jungkook, you are someone who made me smile when I forget how that's more than anyone else ever did. Tears slipping slightly down Taehyung's cheek, Jungkook stepped closer, gently wiped one away with his thumb. Jungkook, you shouldn't cry, Taehyung, hearing his name in Jungkook's voice, broke something inside him. All the fear, all the guilt, all the weight of pretending. Taehyung, I'm sorry I lied you. I wore a crown that wasn't mine. Jungkook, and it. You rolled my heart without even trying. Taehyung let out a sharp, trembling laugh between tears. You are too kind to me. Jungkook, kindness has nothing to do with it. It's the truth. He reached for Taehyung's hand, holding it gently between his own. The warmth of his touch felt steady, glowing like sunlight after a storm. Taehyung, what will the court say? The king? The people? Jungkook, let them say what they want. I protect you. I don't care about rules. Taehyung, you risk your crown for this. Jungkook, for you, yes. Taehyung looked up, his eyes wide, voice barely a whisper. Why? Jungkook smiled faintly because somewhere between your screams and your kindness, I fall in love with you. The words seemed to blur around them. The flowers, the wind, the sound of distant calls. Taehyung couldn't speak. He could only look at him, his chest aching with everything he held back for weeks. I love you too, Jungkook. I don't want to be too, but I did. Every day I tried to remind myself it was all pretend, and every night I felt Jungkook laugh softly, really feeling his face. Then maybe it was never pretend. Then maybe it was never pretend at all. He stepped closer, therefore, almost touching. May I? Taehyung nodded faintly. Yes. Jungkook leaned in slowly, gave him every chance to move away. But Taehyung didn't. Their lips met softly, warm, hesitated at first, then sure and full of feeling. It wasn't rush, it was quite like a promise, whisper in the wind. When they finally parted, Taehyung's eyes were bright with tears again, but this time they were happy ones. Taehyung, I never thought a lie could lead to something this real. Jungkook, then let's build a truth from it. He smiled, a real smile, widened that one reached his eyes. It was the first time Taehyung had seen the prince look alive. They passed and the news spread Princess Honey had been found safe swimming freely in distant village. The king thought shocked at first and chose peace over punishment when Jungkook personally stood before him. Jungkook, it was my choice. I wish to keep Taehyung by my side. The court had whispered, but no one dared challenge the prince. Riolu. General Youngest marked proudly for his place in the hall. Took you long enough, he mumbled under his breath. Jimin standing behind him, whispering with grin, told you he liked you? Turn elbow him lightly, try not to smile. Later that night, when the place had quiet again, Jungkook found Taehyung standing on the same balcony where he once thought he didn't belong. The night sky was clear, stars settled like Jungkook thinking again. Taehyung turning, smiled softly. Always Taehyung. Jungkook about what this time. Taehyung about how strange it feels to be happy. Jungkook walked closer, standing beside him. Then get used to it. Taehyung looked at him. You mean that? Jungkook every word. He reached out and took Taehyung's hand. Their fingers The silence between them was peaceful, steady, no secret, no pretending. Taehyung, do you think the kingdom will ever understand us? Jungkook, they don't need to. I do. Taehyung smiled, raising his hand lightly on Jungkook's shoulder. The birds carried the scent of rose again. The same one from their first walk now belonged stranger than ever. Taehyung, you know you are a prince. You are not that bad. Jungkook softly, and for an impostor, you make a wonderful bride. Taehyung laughed quietly, nudging him. I'll take that as compliment. Jungkook, it is, he titled Taehyung gently, another to his forehead. The moon shone bright over them, pretending the place in silver light. For the first time, there were no lies, no duties, no fear, only he quiet, certain warmth in love that he had found it without words. And as the wind whispered through the gun below, the co-prince finally smiled, not for his crown, not for his kingdom, but for the boy who had accidentally his heart.